NieR Automata is my favorite game of all time, and it might also be my favorite piece of art of all time. Its and its predecessor, NieR, and now its remake, NieR Replicant, is a central part of my personality, and I still think about its themes, characters, and music almost all the time. It's no wonder then that over 5 years ago, when I first started YouTube, I always wanted to make a video on the NieR franchise, but I never really could. It's a really difficult topic to grasp and fully describe, and I've written countless of pages of scripts about the game and deleted them all again because they just didn't pass my own quality control. However, there has been one topic that I never really knew how to include in the video, because it's a rather negative one for me, and I really just didn't know how to include it in a way that felt satisfying to me. Not because the games are perfect and there's nothing negative to say about them, there is, but this negative thing for me, this negative topic, has been so detached from the rest of the franchise, from the rest of the games, that I don't know how to put it into a video in a way that makes sense, because it's such a derailing thing and it's so negative and worrying to me that I never really knew how to talk about it in the form of a video. I definitely want to make a video on NieR Automata and NieR and, NieR in general in the future, but I just want to get this out of the way first. So, yeah, let's talk about it in this video. I guess generally I want to talk about the marketing of NieR and, well, the direction the NieR franchise is going towards, and also fan service in the NieR franchise. So, there has now passed more time between the release of NieR Automata and now than there was between the release of NieR and the announcement of NieR Automata. And we still do not have any real say towards a new sequel in NieR. And I'm stretching this and I'm underlying this because Square Enix, the publisher of NieR, and Yoko Taro for an extent, Yoko Taro is the main writer and the main figurehead behind NieR, they've done their best to cement NieR as a franchise. Not one or two games, not one or two artistic expressions and, unique happenings in the video game industry. No, they specifically stated again and again and again that these are games. And now, after all this time, all we've really got is a really bad mobile game, and now an announcement for an anime, which personally has me very worried. And I hope that if you listen to me, to what I have to say in this video, you understand why. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to enjoy their games, or what is morally correct, or you're a bad person if you like this and that. No. This is just my perspective on my favorite piece of art and the way it's been kind of derailed and deformed over the years. So I feel like it's best if we just take a look back. NieR obviously was this very revolutionary game more than 12 years ago, I think about 12 years ago right now, that played with a lot of stereotypes and staples of video games and the JRPG genre and anime and all that stuff. It transformed him into something new, something artistic, something that had meaning to it. It was about terrorism and, the dark sides of humanity, of our psyche, impulses, and it was a very gray game. It still is, obviously, with its remake. Hopefully, its story, cemented a little bit more in our minds. And this was then followed up by NieR Automata, which nobody could have even guessed would ever happen because NieR wasn't a very successful game. Now, with NieR Automata, the character designs have definitely become more marketable, and I think this, in collaboration with, the sheer quality of the game and the quality of the story of the game, has pushed the franchise into new heights where it's basically now. The fandom has grown exponentially afterwards, and there has been a lot of media related to NieR that has been created as a result of that. There have been theater plays, books, mini series of writing published by Yoko Taro, all kinds of stuff, in order to keep the fans, looking at the ball, so to say. However, what I've noticed already back then, and like I said, this is just my experience with it, is the fandom first kind of just started up as discussing the themes of the story, discussing the gameplay, discussing the game itself, NieR Automata. But as the fandom grew, and as the awareness about these characters, specifically 2B, grew, people just kind of forgot, like, the point of these characters and the context in which they exist. And characters like 2B have just been stretched into this fan service place where it's just, this is an attractive woman, she's wearing a skimpy outfit, and that's all she is. And I personally find that horrifying. I have to admit. In my personal experience, every single person I've met in real life that has asked me, oh, what's your favorite video game, Chris? This is not a joke, by the way. This is literally what happens almost all of the time. And I say NieR Automata. Their response is, oh, you mean that fetish game? You mean that corn game? And I'm like, no, that's actually not what it is. It's a philosophical game about war. And everybody's like, yeah, but the main character is this lady in a skimpy outfit with a huge ass. And that's just kind of what the reputation of NieR is right now. And now I have a lot to say about this. So I think, first of all, we have to talk about the fact that about the way this is not intentional, but we will talk about the way this is intentional afterwards. So the NieR games are very specific, very focused pieces of art. If a character looks some way, there's a reason to it. If we look back at the first game, NieR, the character Kaine is specifically designed to invoke the stereotype of a skimpy JRPG lady that is dressed in, a skimpy outfit, and she's really ditzy, she's just here to heal or something. She's very specifically designed to invoke that feeling, and then her personality, the way she moves, the way she fights, is designed to subvert that feeling. Now, this is an exterior reason for why she is dressed like that, why she looks like that, but the interior, in-story reason for why she looks like that is because she is an intersex person. She is also transsexual, she identifies as a woman, but she does not possess fully gender-affirming genitals. The reason she dresses like that in the story of the game is because she wants to make it very clear and very explicitly obvious that she is a woman. Now, looking back, obviously, I have an issue with this. This is not perfect looking back now. But at the time, you have to understand, this was revolutionary. This was something nobody had ever the balls to do in a video game. You need to understand this. This is like a very important thing. Now, obviously, now I have an issue with it. Now I'm thinking, wow, this is really on the nose. I would not have done it this way. There are plenty of more elegant ways of bringing this point across without literally making her look like, a sex doll. But the problem with this already is that people who have not played NieR do not know that. All they see is this design, and they just conclude, oh, this is a sexy lady. And that already reduces the game a lot, and it changes the reputation of the game. And I feel like the same thing on a much larger scale happened when NieR Automata was released, where you have to be the main character who is supposedly a soldier automaton, a soldier android, and is dressed in a skimpy dress. Now, this also has an in-story explanation, and is actually part of a plot twist where the game is like, oh yeah, obviously 2B is not a warrior unit, she's not a soldier unit, she's actually a spy. She's dressed in this outfit in order to invoke, to be looked at by 9S and get his sympathy, get his attention, make him develop feelings towards her, have her have a friendly exterior, an inviting exterior, because she's actually an assassin unit. She's here to spy on 9S, and once he figures out too much, she is going to kill him. There are multiple hints towards this in the story. There are other units we may encounter that give clues towards this, other robots, and that's the reason she looks like that. Again, looking back, yes, there are better ways to do this other than like make her ass show up all the time, but that's really not how the game does it anyway. This whole sexualization and focus around 2B happened after the game came out, and there's nothing in the game, or at least nothing that explicit in the game, that would incite something like that. The game isn't childish like that, and that's something that makes me mad about the way Yoko Taro has kind of been portrayed in the media. Like, he's not... He likes to act childish in interviews and stuff, but his stories are clearly aimed at adults. They're stories that are not meant to be consumed by children. They don't have simple plots, and like I said, same goes again. We have 2B in NieR Automata, and we have A2, who again also has a skimpy outfit or whatever, but there is also an explanation for that, and it's just basically like she doesn't care. And I feel like the important point I'm trying to give across is that these games are in lore aware of what the characters are wearing. It is part of their story, it makes sense, people know and perceive these characters correctly, they know what they're wearing. It's not something like Metal Gear Solid 5 with Quiet, where it's like nobody even reacts to the fact that she's wearing a bikini, and the developers are just like, oh yeah, but that's because she breathes through her skin. It's not like that. It's the characters see that these other characters are wearing weird outfits or not wearing anything. And again, with A2, it's just she doesn't care. She's a damaged android. She is literally, as far as she's herself is concerned, indestructible. She does not care if she's wearing something or not. And I feel like her outfit actually reflects that she's a battle-torn machine. Sure, she looks like a human woman, but it's clear that she's not, because she's just ripped up everywhere. Yeah. So that's that on that. But like I said again, the problem is kind of the outside perception is really important with this kind of stuff. Like, the perception of the NieR franchise is not, these are deep philosophical games that have deep messaging and whatever. The outsider perception of the NieR franchise is just like, these are some Japanese waifu games, which is terrible and ironic considering that that's the whole point, like, that Yoko Taro tried to make back then about what they are not. But again, this whole argument kind of stood on the point of, oh, Yoko Taro didn't do this intentionally, he didn't want to do this. And while this holds true for the games themselves, he does try to create artistic and philosophical things inside of his own games. Outside of them, he kind of actively just encourages the creation of, like, well, porn surrounding his characters. And I feel like there's some very heavy and warranted criticism about this. The problem that I have is not finding these characters attractive. The problem that I have is that this reduces the franchise to just being fan service. And I know that the two can coexist, but not on the scale of the NieR series. And now you may say, okay, cool, but if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. The people who don't know that the games are actually quality, like, fuck them, right? Like, it's not our problem. Yeah, but is it though? Because clearly this outsider perspective is kind of just shaping everything of the, like, around the NieR franchise now. Because if you look at the most recent example of a NieR product we have, which is the NieR phone game, this has basically destroyed like the entire game. Like, the NieR phone game is a gacha game for no other reason than, oh look, NieR is now synonymous with waifus, we can get a lot of money out of people collecting waifus. Which is terrible, because the game itself, the story of the game, and everything in the game are suffering under that. There are new characters where they dress super slutty, and there's no explanation to it. There's no in-story reason to it, and I feel extremely... Well, I feel like I'm the butt of the joke here. Like, I've been defending Yoko Taro and his decisions and his designs for so many years, because I know that they are intentional. I know that there's something there. I know that there's an emotional story that has left a huge impact on me. And now with NieR Reincarnation, there's nothing there. Like, there's fucking slutty astronauts, female slutty astronauts, and like female slutty women wearing kimonos, and it's just like, who are you? Why are you wearing that? What is going on? And it's just deconstructing this whole thing. And it does influence the story, because the stories in NieR Reincarnation are dumb. They're really bad. They're borderline nonsensical. There's nothing to them. Like, there's some vague thing about innocence and not innocence with the main character being a girl and a giant mech insectoid creature. That's something. But like, all of this feels like it's just scraped from the bottom of the barrel of Yoko Taro's mind, and he's just regurgitating into a phone game, which he himself has admitted that it's just a trash game and he doesn't care about it. But at the same time, I'm just like, okay, so is nobody going to check on the quality, on the reputation of this franchise? Like, are we just gonna like drive it down into the absolute darkest abyss where just a couple of weeps that, like, for some reason are not watching hentai right now and wanna, you know, grab a waifu from here and there and implement them in their daily lives on their phone? Like, is that really what the NieR franchise stands for right now? And I have to say again, I've seen Yoko Taro's new game, Voice of Cards. He seems to be interested in making Voice of Cards 2 and a bunch of that stuff right now instead of, you know, NieR games. And the thing with Voice of Cards now is that now not only the women are sexualized, but the men as well, which, that's not better. I don't know how to say this. Like, that's not better. It's not... Just because people are saying the way you're sexualizing women is dumb and it distracts actively from your plots, the answer shouldn't be, oh, here, look, a man in a Speedo. It should be, okay, maybe I should return to when I was sexualizing women for a reason, when maybe it made sense with the plot, or maybe they themselves just wanted to dress sluttily. Like, I feel like my point is not sexualized designs are always bad. My point is you can't first create a very philosophical and serious game and then just flood its marketing and completely flip its identity towards just, hey, look, slutty women. If you want to do that, then fine. Create a game like those beach volleyball games that are all just about staring at women's bouncing breasts. But I didn't think that was what NieR stood for. I didn't think that's what NieR wanted to express. But apparently now it is. Or at least now that's what Yoko Taro is trying to do. And I don't get it. Like I said, if you want to make a sexy game, make a sexy game. But don't sell me it as a part of the NieR franchise, because that's not what the NieR franchise stands for. That's not the NieR franchise's identity. And I feel like my favorite pieces of art are just being dragged down in the mud for no reason, other than to make money, or that the creator, the literal creator of it, just doesn't care. Which is really hurtful. Like, damn, I watched and read every single thing Yoko Taro put out regarding the NieR franchise. I eat this shit up like it's nothing, and I see beautifully complex characters that have so much to say about the world and everything. Like, Yoko Taro is excellent at writing personal stories that feel huge, they feel grand, they feel like they tell us something about being human, about the entire world. And NieR Replicant, the remake of NieR, is a triumph at that. It adds beautifully to it. But then there's things like just Kaine's design being unchanged even after a time skip. And no, I'm not talking about the first time skip, I'm talking about the second time skip, where Kaine clearly had enough years to overthink her design and her clothes, because if Kaine is now successfully implemented in society, which she is sort of after the time skip, it does not make sense for her to dress like that and look exactly the same. Anyway, this was a very rambly video. I feel like I got my point across. Yeah, I don't understand where the hell the NieR franchise is going, and I'm a little bit disappointed that there's nothing to be done about its reputation. And not that reputation matters that much, but outside looks are so important nowadays, and I feel like most of the franchise now, like even the fans now, just don't care about what the games actually stood for back then. Now it's all just like TNA, got some TNA, and that makes me very worried about the anime. Cause like, what are we looking at? Where is this gonna go? Are you just gonna give me even more TNA? You know what I mean? Like, is that where we're going? Like, is the anime just gonna be a lot of 2B cyber tits and cyber ass? Instead of, you know, a deep philosophical story and, like, where's this going? Especially because, okay, final thing, in the games, or at least in NieR Automata, 9S, the unit that is supposed to fall in love with 2B, does actually not fall in love with 2B. He does not find her attractive. He wants to murder her. That's a crucial part of the story. And if now the anime version is just gonna be like, well, obviously 9S has fallen for 2B. Look at those TNA. I am going to combust. Okay, bye.